The phrase link in bio is dead. It hasn't been working for a while now. I want to show you what I've begun doing instead, because this new alternative has been working outrageously well so far. Because here's the thing, Instagram is by far the #1 social platform for churches right now, in my opinion. It has a wide set of creative features, the feed, reels, stories, DMs. It's big with millennials and Gen Z. Unlike its corporate counterpart Facebook, using the platform as a creator is not agony, and unlike TikTok, which is really its only competition, it's more established and perceived by many, rightly or wrongly, as more appropriate and friendly. Now, where does YouTube fall into this comparison? Well, YouTube is not a traditional social media platform, but it is social media, especially because the definition for social media continues to expand. It's not just about friends and family connections anymore, it's also just plain old entertainment. No one does that better than YouTube. YouTube is also the only social platform that is a favorite of every single generation. It's also the second largest search engine in the world. Nonetheless, it does not have the predictable discovery component that Instagram does right now. What do I mean by that? Sure, you can have a video pop off on YouTube and reach new audiences. I mean, just look at a recent video of ours on our podcast channel, The Pro Church Tools Show. This is an interview we did with a former social media director at Transformation Church. This is a new YouTube channel for us, less than a year old, and this is our biggest video by far on the channel to date as of this recording, close to 17,000 views, which you can see according to YouTube is 16.1 thousand more than normal, and we got 329 new subscribers from just this video, which is about 13% of all subscribers on the channel currently. And where did these viewers come from? Well, if you look at overall impressions for this video, 94% of them came from YouTube recommending our content, mostly on the homepage, which translated to watch time on this video coming primarily from people not subscribed to the channel. So this is YouTube's discovery algorithm at work, sharing our show with new people without us paying them to do it, which is awesome. But Instagram's discovery algorithm is even more predictable. Here's a church that DM'd me just the other day. They had a post pop off, get more than 1.5 million views. And more importantly, it more than doubled their follower account on Instagram in about 72 hours. We followed up with this church a couple of weeks later, and they told us that reel is still getting views and attracting new followers to the church's profile today, and that momentum on other posts since that have increased. All because of one great post. And by the way, that post style is one that we highlighted on a recent YouTube video, and it comes with a downloadable template. We'll have that linked on the screen and in the description. Make sure to check that out. Now, we're gonna get to the alternative for the link in bio call to action here in just a second, but it's imperative that you understand the dynamics of Instagram right now to grasp why the link in bio invitation is not as effective as it once was, because Instagram really, they have it all right now. You can connect with your existing congregation in a variety of creative formats. You can reach new audiences that are local to your church because discovery algorithms have a huge local component to how they distribute content. You can do all this without spending a dime on boosted posts or ads. And you don't need an affluent pastor that people recognize to see this kind of growth. There's really never been a better time to be doing social ministry. As users, I think we all might long for the good old days of social. That's perfectly understandable. For creators, this is the golden age. You don't want to squander it. How do I know? Because I've been on Instagram for, 10 years now. I've been posting as a creator for roughly the same amount of time. I lead a social media agency for churches that works every week with roughly 200 churches. So we are in the trenches seeing this stuff. But, just look at my own account. Recently surpassed 100,000 followers. If you're not following along over there, we'd love to have you at Brady Shearer. At the beginning of 2022, that account had 38,216 followers. So, in just 2 years, the follower base tripled. Why? The discovery algorithms of Instagram kicked in. Now, the posts aren't just being shown to my followers, but to people that are not yet following. That exposure in the era of traditional media for a church, that would have cost thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars for something like a billboard, TV or radio spot, mailers. I know because I got my start as a media director at a church plant in 2010. 15 years ago. And yes, I was tasked with creating a Facebook page for the church, but social was different then. We didn't see it as a tool for reaching new people. Today, it is. Even better, in the previous era of social, once you hit publish on a post, you started an immediate countdown of about a day or two until that post faded into obscurity, never to be seen again. Today, a good post can still be getting views, attracting new followers months after it was first posted, as that church that we just showed you is still seeing. Instagram just has one glaring weakness in my estimation right now: calls to action. Unlike YouTube and Facebook, you can't just drop a link in a post. We all have access to links on Instagram stories, yeah, but have you checked the analytics on stories that have links compared to others? They tend to get a fraction of the views once you insert that link. Then we have our link in bio. The one link Instagram gives us, and this limitation has birthed some creative solutions over the years, namely Linktree and similar platforms which allow you to aggregate your most important links on a single page so that when you tell someone in a post, for more information, check my link in bio, they can navigate to your profile, click that one link, land on your link aggregation page, find the link that's relevant to them, click it, and take their next step from there. Far from elegant, but it has been our best option to this point. Here's the problem. Because it was our only option, this call to action has been beaten to death, so much so that it rarely gets paid any notice anymore because it's become synonymous with promotion. It's lost its novelty. More often than not, it just gets ignored because we've heard it so many times. So, we begun using a different call to action. Direct message automation. The tool I use to power this is Manychat, an official Meta business partner. They have a free plan up to 1,000 contacts. This is not a sponsored video, nor do I have an affiliate code to share with you. I also don't know a single person at this company that's requesting we make this video in exchange for a free account or something like that. I pay for my account every month with Manychat myself with my own money. But here's how it works. I create a post for Instagram. It can be for the feed, it can be a reel, whatever. I then invite my audience to post a keyword in the comments section. For example, comment the word test below this post. Usually I put that call to action in the caption, but I'll also usually put it in the post itself as well, in the still or the video. And then I set up an automation to send you a DM instantly to follow up. And if you want to see how this works, I have a post set up where you can test it. Just comment the word test below this post and see what happens. The post is linked in the description of this video. You can also find it by just going to my Instagram at Brady Shearer. Now, DM automation is most effective when you're giving your audience something of value, but it can also work for links to event signups. And I've been using this as the main call to action a ton on recent posts, and just look at the numbers that we're seeing. If I hover over the analytics on Instagram on desktop, here was the first time we tried it, 2,036 comments. Another one here, 1,408 comments. And moreover, when you dive deeper into the analytics of these posts, the responses look even more impressive. For example, on the post with 2,036 comments, and if you look through the comment section, more than 95% of the comments are just the keyword requesting, in this case, the social media template I promise in the post. This post reached 56,412 accounts overall. About a third of those accounts were not followers of mine. Amazing. And of those 56,000 accounts, more than 2,000 commented in response to the invitation I made. So about 3.5%. That's very good because for context, let's compare this to email. Email has long been considered, rightly, the best way to get in touch with people online. People check their email regularly. You don't have to compete with algorithms on email. Historically, if you've sent an email, it will arrive in the intended inbox. And if you're sending someone an email, it's because they've also opted in to hear from you. So there's that implicit element of permission. And what kind of click-through rate is normal for email? Well, according to MailChimp, about 2.66%. And that's to a warm audience, meaning people that you've already made contact with and have joined your email list. The DM automation here is outperforming the email click-through rate, with a third of that audience being a cold audience, meaning they don't follow me. Presumably, many of them have no idea who I am, have never interacted with my content, and this post is still outperforming an average email. And it gets better, because every person that comments on that post gets a DM from me, which is another positive signal to Instagram that people enjoy my content, because it's not just in the feed, there's interaction beyond that in the DMs. And then you also cannot discount the social currency that comes from a post that has hundreds and hundreds or even thousands of comments underneath it. Now, I'm not saying that you should ditch email and only use DM automation on Instagram. Not at all. I still love email. Newsletters are seeing a big resurgence right now in the culture. What I'm saying is what has historically been Instagram's greatest weakness is now actually one of its strengths. Even when you compare it to one of the goats of digital media, it's right there with it. And DM automation works great on other posts as well. Here's a carousel post. As an example, I used it for here on the 6th slide of the carousel. I was describing a concept that I couldn't really illustrate in the slide itself, so I invited people reading the post to comment the word example, and I would DM them the example video I was referencing so they could see it for themselves. That's the only time I mention it. It's not in the caption. It's not in any of the other 9 slides on the carousel, and it still resulted in more than 500 comments. The best part? It all runs on autopilot. I set this up before the post goes live, and then it just runs itself. So I wanna show you how I actually do that. Let's go into my Manychat account, and I'll show you precisely how I set this up for a new post. Okay, so here's my Manychat account. You can see the previous automations that I have set up and how many responses they got. Here's the 2,400 comments, 1,200 comments, 400 comments, 200 comments, 500 comments, and over and over. If I'm gonna set up a new automation, what I would do is I would duplicate one of these, and I'm gonna show you exactly the settings that I choose. So we'll go into this, and I'll click on Edit Automation. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to edit the trigger, and then I'm gonna edit what we actually send via DM to the person that requests the follow-up. So if I click into here, because I duplicated this, right now it's saying which post do you want this automation to occur on? I'm saying the specific post. What I do, and I can only do this with a paid account, is that instead of setting this up after the post goes live, which you can do with a free account, I choose next post or reel. So now, the next time I publish a reel or a carousel, this automation will automatically kick in there. So I can schedule it. Otherwise, at least for my account, I'd have to publish it and then rush to Manychat to make sure it goes live. And then for the folks that commented before I could do that, I'd have to manually reply to them. On smaller accounts where you're not gonna have that many comments right away, you could forego perhaps the paid account and go with this route. I'm gonna click continue. Now I choose the keyword I want to be the trigger for the follow-up. So I used 167 last time. Let's say I wanna use test. I'll enter that. I can click continue. You can also do it on any comment. I always want it to be on a keyword. And then this one's really cool. You can automatically set up multiple replies that go auto. So what I'll often do is, check your DMs, exclamation point. You got it, exclamation point, and check mark. For sure. I'll usually add about 5 replies and then save those. And then what I would do is I would edit what I'm sending them. So last time we were introducing a new scholarship that we're doing with churches, and we said, hey, if you want to be eligible for the scholarship, just comment 167 below this post and we'll send you the link to sign up. And that's what I sent them there. So I would just edit this to be, whatever the new call to action is here. And then I would update it and I would set it live. That's how simple it is. A couple things to know. On the auto comments, I ran into trouble the first time that I did this, where I kept the auto comments on the whole time, and we had so many people commenting that Instagram actually has limits on how many people you can follow in an hour, how many comments you can make in an hour, and we had exceeded that, even though Manychat is a authorized partner. So what I'll do now is I'll turn on the auto comments, and then after I've sent like 15 or 20 of them, I'll turn them off so that I don't hit that limit again. This also works not just for Instagram. If your church is like, we're not really huge on Instagram, does it work on Facebook? Yes, it does. So if I go back to automations and I click new automation, here, if I go to start from scratch, you can choose from different triggers. So on Instagram, they click on an ad, they comment on a post or reel, they reply to a story. I haven't begun using DM automation with stories yet, but I plan to with a very specific campaign in the future. I'm excited to try that. On Facebook Messenger, you can have it where a user comments on a post, they get the reply, user sends a message, they get a reply, clicks on a Facebook ad, scans a QR code, messages. So lots of different options. So there are use cases beyond Instagram for churches that are maybe more on Facebook still right now. I believe that's everything here. Like I said, this has a free account, up to 1,000 contacts. There will be some limitations. I think the pro account is very reasonably priced as well. There's an old saying, marketers ruin everything. Will DM automation be this effective indefinitely? No, it'll eventually lose its novelty and get stale, just like the overused link in bio prompt. But that's true of everything. Remember, marketers, that's you, that's me, ruin everything. Until then, I plan on using DM automation even more, and I think your church should consider giving it a try as well. As for the next video you should watch, I mentioned that church that saw their Instagram followers more than double in about 72 hours. They used a very specific post template when they saw that happen. I talk about that post format in this video, and I even give you a free template to download and use so you can try it yourself. We see this post format working so well for so many different churches, so watch that video next. And thanks as always for your time, attention, and trust. We'll talk soon.